Hair sticks up like crazy with hair pieces. It doesn't just lie flat or follow what you want. Like I said, with the medium light density, the hairs were sort of able to be separated enough that they could sort of more flow and lie flatter. But with medium density, which gives me the coverage that I want, and that's not always obedient anyway. And I always take to say, make sure you cut it and leave it at least 1.5 inches long. Well, this is all more than 1.5 inches long, all of it. My natural hair isn't. But my natural hair doesn't obey me that much, to be honest, because I've got curly hair. It doesn't go exactly in the direction I want. But this stuff definitely doesn't obey me. So I'm gonna have to explore, and I don't know the answer to this. How do we get this to lie flat? Other question, how is this hair dye looking in my bald spot? I haven't had a shower yet, so I can't tell. The other things we're gonna explore, the hairs that still remain get stuck in there. The hairpiece is still intact and everything, and it's not deteriorated at all overnight just from sleeping on it, but I haven't had a shower yet. And I'm gonna come out after the shower. But I'm gonna meet somebody right now. So how am I gonna go and meet them like this? There's only one solution, a quick fix that will make all your hair problems go away temporarily, but immediately. Here it is. Wear a hat. I'll have a shower after I've met this person and come back and have a shower, and then we'll try to fix up this hairpiece. Okay, so I've had this hat on for 2 hours, and now I'm gonna take it off. Ting! Didn't help. One of my commenters will be adamant, I've told you, get thinning scissors. I don't trust that that would completely work. It could help, but even if I had some hairs in kind of isolation, I still feel they'll probably stick up and disobey me. I need to ask you guys, how do you make hair that sticks up lie flat? I mean, this length is long enough. I just get the feeling that this hairpiece was cut from the center of a full hairpiece, because you know I cut them in thirds, everyone knows that, right? I told you. Anyway, that's... Oh fuck, that's gonna be really fucking grey now, right? That's what it looks like side on. Even if I styled this hair neatly so it all was staying together, it's not gonna allow me to avoid the sticking upness that comes from that. Even if this hair was long, it would still be able to lie flat. Not if it was naturally, it would be very buffy. Not without product. I mean, but the thing is, the way hair pieces are tied in with the hair tie or the V-loop, those are the two ways that hairs are attached to hair pieces that I've seen. It's hard to make them obey brushing. These ones here seem particularly long, so they might stay. What if I take this next lot here, try to brush that down? That's kind of staying. The hairbrush is kind of leaving it to stay. Okay, that. Okay, so the longer ones are sort of got the weight they need to stay, but these ones up here, which are shorter, they really don't want to stay down. All the short ones at the back. See how it's gradually, even while I sit here, it's rising. The hair's going, I forced them with the brush to go like that, and now they're going like this. Now let's look at the hairline since I've worn a hat. Yeah, imagine me trying to make that side a bit flat. Take the brush away. It's very hard to achieve. Let's look at the front hairline here. So yeah, unlike Polly, hairs and a bit of mess does get caught in the front there. but not as bad as you saw with the last one where I didn't use the tape marking method. This is after using the tape marking method yesterday, but I've just slept on it and worn a hat. I haven't had a shower. So those hairs there, they weren't really actually stuck to anything, they were just underneath the ridge there. Looks like there's a bit of dirt on that glue, but not really. And up here, that should all be a mess because that's the bit that had glue all over the place. And I didn't get that out. So I'll have a shower now and I'll have a look at this with you. I'll have a normal, probably 10-15 minute shower. Wash my hair with shampoo, I'll wash my hair with conditioner, I'll brush my teeth, I'll floss my teeth, and I'll wash my tongue. Probably won't shave. Then I'll dry myself as much as I can and then come back here and we'll see how much the bloating of the water affects the front hairline. These knots are not too bad for lace. Well, knots, lace is the only base type that uses knots that I'm aware of. This line along here is from some kind of, that's a hair there, I think. Yeah, they were hairs rather than dirty glue. That there is dirty glue. That should all be dirty glue there because I wasn't able to get it all out yet. That over there, look at the blend between my natural side, perimeter, and the hairs. It looks really, really good. That couldn't be achieved, what you just saw there, that examination of that corner bit, that could not be achieved with poly, which really makes me want to consider using lace instead of poly, especially if I'm going back here like that, or if I'm going to have short sides for the rest of the time, because those the shorter the hair is around the perimeter, the less I can just overlap it. Lace has the advantage of being able to blend, a lot more difficult to apply. That tape marking thing, I think, closed the gap somewhat between poly and lace in terms of ease of use. So if I use lace in the future, which I'm sort of leaning towards now because of the short hair stuff, I'm likely to always use that tape marking method if I have the tape with me. Otherwise, it's just a matter of guessing and having too much glue this way, not enough glue that way, then lifting it, trying to touch it up constantly. Just getting rid of that little tiny ball of glue just sitting there. That was from that area that the bristles of the glue brush went under. Thinning scissors are potentially what I would use. I think there is a bit of a skill involved in thinning scissors though. Because like I said, two hairs that are far apart have more of an access to lean down on each other, even though they're tied in, so they sort of want to go like that, but they could be forced with some hair product to lie down flatter. Whereas two hairs that are sort of close together can only sort of do that, and that one's leading the one after it in both directions forever. So thinning scissors might be an answer. But I'll see what I can do with some water. Maybe the heat of the water can help style it. I know the weight of the water will definitely help while it's wet. So I'll stay with you until this all becomes dry as well, just so you have a reasonable understanding of the effects of whatever it is the fuck I do to this hairpiece today to try and solve this problem. But the tape marking has lasted well. This is tape marking day 2. Okay. And I'll show you the rest of the shower. I'm midway through the shower, and of course it's lying flat because it's wet. But you can also see now, while it's wet, that you can see into these sort of perimeter gaps. And I guess a lot of the trick to hiding this perimeter, doesn't matter if I cut it back to here or whatever, it'll still be something like that. But then again, I suppose even further back to where there's not a, no, it's different. That's got a bigger gap than that, or that. Still a gap though. If you separate your hair anywhere, just like without a gap. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see when it dries how it behaves. But definitely, the heavier it is, the more it will obey. And I've got conditioner in my hair at the moment too. And you can see what I'm doing. The hairline is going to be exposed to a lot of water and hairs and stuff touching it during the shower. During any shower, that's what happens. Okay, I've had a shower. Hair is still wet, obviously. I'm going to brush it back, starting at the back row to see when it starts flipping up. This hair back here that's sort of sticking up is because my natural hair is longer in that spot. Longer than 0 anyway. So that's like having 2 levels. Also, if I didn't brush back, just my hair on its own being brushed creates that back effect. So at this point, it's not the knots that are to blame. Okay, so we've got some massive problems with the hair at the front here. When I say massive, I mean if I didn't have a mirror, it would have been awkward. With poly, I kind of feel the need that I don't really have to have a mirror to trust that I can go out and face the world with the front hairline. So long as I feel that it's pushed down. So there's no lifting going on. Since the tape marking method, giving it a nice thick layer of glue along the front. And just with my fingernail here, I'm just removing some of the excess glue that's sort of become dirty at the front there. And it is in fact glue that somehow escaped during the shower process. All along there as well. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just wait for it to dry and see if that still remains a problem. What I'll also do is just leave it brushed back like this until the whole thing dries. It could take 2 hours in this winter weather. It's hot in this room though because I just had a shower and stuff. Let's also have a look at the back where I sprayed all that. It's fake tan. So, from your perspective, when I look, you can see my eyes in this little mirror, right? Because I can see you. So I look at this and I still see a bald spot. But I think it's less pronounced, not less bald, but less pronounced than when my hair in that area, my skin in that area was pale. So I might continue with that spray tan method. Spray tan takes 4 hours to kick in, so if I ever have 4 hours to spare, I can always spray the spray tan in there and then wait 4 hours, have a shower and then go out. If I can see that far ahead. I think the spray tan should last about 2 weeks. As for the rest of this, that's brushed back. I'm not going to touch it, but I might go on the orbital, the cross trainer that I've got to get some exercises done, because every time I come out of the shower I can see my body in the mirror and it's fucking fat. And I want to get rid of that. And I know that if I go on that cross trainer every single day for 2 hours, I eat something like soup instead of food, then yeah, I'll just diarrhea my fat down the toilet. It's worked for me before, because you can bloat yourself up on low calorie milk and soup, and your stomach, which could be this size, you need like 2 pizzas to fill it up or 3 pizzas to fill it up. You can shrink the size of your stomach. You know what a stomach is? I'm not talking about the outer appearance of the torso, the abdominal area. I'm talking about your actual stomach inside. It stretches, right? And when it stretches to a certain level, your body says, okay, that's the comfortable level it needs to remain. Because if it starts shrinking down to even like a medium fat person's stomach size, your body will say, no, 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 you're starving, you're hungry, right? You're hungry, eat, and you go back out to here again. So you never change weight, your body, you never lose fat. But if you have liquid all the time, your drinking of the, you know, chocolate, low-fat chocolate milk or the soup or whatever, stretches your stomach out to here like your body wants, so it doesn't give those signals anymore. But because it's liquid, it just shrinks right back down as it squirts down into the bladder. But the body says, no, no, I've already eaten. So even though it's shrunk back down, it doesn't get that signal, eat more. It's already had that signal, and you did eat more. You ate liquids, right? Your stomach shrank down, and your body doesn't say eat more again until later on when it's already like this. So after about, well, basically the next day, you're gonna feel lighter, and then within about 3 or 4 days, your body externally will start to sort of bloat out. So you'll think, why am I putting on weight? This is ridiculous. But if you're doing the exercises and walking and stuff and burning calories, which is basically just walking, you don't need to do anything more like that. Like if you've got an elliptical, a cross trainer, an orbital, something like that, or just a block that you can walk around a couple of times, or maybe go for a long walk to do the grocery shopping or whatever else you need to do, laundromat, whatever, you can burn that away. So your body's burning away the fat while it's taking in less, and your stomach's shrinking at the same time. So you get to there, you're smaller, your body says, I'm hungry, you eat to there, and then it goes to that, and then you eat to there and that, and then eat to that. And your stomach's back to the size of a tennis ball, which is probably the healthy size of a healthy adult. Think about when fat people don't watch what others eat, like, unless they go, huh, is that all you're eating? But watch exactly how much they're eating before they say, oh, I couldn't possibly fit another thing in. It's like, I know skin's stretchier than what you're doing. You can eat more, right? But watch what they're eating. They don't need that much before their brain says, I'm full. Because their stomach, which is elastic, but not that elastic, it's elastic out to here when somebody's really full. So they have really stretched out the threads on the outer walls of the stomach and everything, right? And it's pulling, and it's causing them discomfort. They're full, really. You're not full until you go, I'm full, right? But they're full after that, right? So if you can get down to like a tennis ball sized stomach, and then it shrinks down to sort of the size of a, I don't know, peach. It goes from tennis ball to peach, and then you're hungry, go back out to tennis ball, then you like feel content, and you go out to like that tennis ball and a half, let's say a big orange, and then you're stretching, you go, oh, that's fucking, I'm full, right? Get back on the orbital, burn off those extra calories, but they're liquid, you're still doing that, and then go back in. And after that, after you've lost all the weight and everything, don't think, oh good, now I can go back to all the chocolate and chips. From then, you can sort of go back to eating, but do it gently, because you're like, oh wow, I haven't eaten so long, this is delicious, this is delicious, this is delicious too, right? Just have celery and dips maybe to start with. Because celery is a negative calorie food. If you eat celery, it takes your body more energy to burn the calorie off than the cut celery gives you. There are still nutrients in the celery, but not fattening nutrients. It's like eating ice or snow. You will definitely lose weight if that's all you're eating, ice and snow. You could potentially, that would probably cause you damage to the nerve systems inside your esophagus and stomach lining, and it would hurt. Just crunching down on ice and be disgusting, and you wouldn't be satisfied. If that was to fill you up, it would probably melt on the way down into water anyway, so you might as well just drink water. But the burning of the calories to get rid of that ice or that snow, your body is going to have to take fat out of storage and burn it so that your body has the energy required to get rid of that ice or snow. So if you do want to go on a snow diet, you try it for up to 3 weeks maybe, because I think you can survive up to 3 weeks without food. But you know, mix it up a bit, put some water in there sometimes. But yeah, if you want to go midway, I haven't done it for a long time, but it worked last time. I lost 22 kilograms in 2 months, 8 weeks basically. That was from doing what I said. But I was walking a lot. I was walking maybe 5 kilometers every 2-second day. while I was doing that stuff. So I lost heaps of weight. So really, the liquid, I was so strict about it too. And the thing is, you hunger really more for taste than you do for sort of the material, the substance. Like, oh, I want something crunchy. If you want something crunchy, yes, you do get those urges. Chewing gum. If you're hungry for being filled up, liquid, soup or some kind of flavored, let's say soy milk, so it doesn't hurt the cows. I'm gonna let this dry and we can watch, see how it raises up over time. Okay, so I was on the treadmill since 3:30 and it's now 7:30 and I just got off, so it's 4 hours of just slowly doing this, standing up. Bad for my back, I can feel it, but it's probably strength in my back a little bit because the muscles required to keep myself upright, core strength. And the hair has basically stayed fairly flat. I don't know what's going on from the side. There's a lump. I'd need a few extra centimeters. I'm going bald right here as well, by the way. But nobody goes bald there. That's the bald spot in LED light straight up against the back of my head. From a distance, it looks more like this. Still no good. Let's just switch lighting here for a second. That's what I look like when the lighting's not smack up against the back of my head. Face is somewhat visible. Is the bald spot visible at all to you right now? Until what if I come in close? Can you see it? Yeah, there you go. That's some visibility, that's pretty fucking close. That's the bald spot. What about the joint up here? So you can see the skin is naturally like that, but I've got some spray tan on there and I have had a shower to take off the excess, so after 4 hours of development, that bald spot is going to keep growing. And it was noticeable even when I had longer hair. Let's have a look at this hairline. It's not imperceptible, it is a perceptible line of jointness. Now as I rub my finger downwards from here, you can see the parts where I've rubbed my finger, it makes it more joined. Perhaps a shower bloated the glue and it lifted it. Or maybe you just have to sporadically press it down, but what wouldn't happen here with poly is the glue wouldn't be slipping out. I'm pressing all the glue out here with my finger. Every time I press down like that, swipe down. And this all over here, that's quite visible. So it's not a flawless system, even though I did the tape marking technique. I didn't get away with having no glue coming out from the base. And now what I've just done is effectively I've just pushed all this glue down to my forehead, which is going to make dirt gather all along there and make the hairs all stick to it. And I just don't know, well I mean I do know, that just a simple spray and wipe of the with alcohol, which is supposed to be the technique used for cleaning up the hairline, is going to get all that glue off. What I'm being careful not to do is to rub it sideways or upways, because I really want this one to work. Now if you rub too much on your hairline, you're going to give yourself an abrasion. I'm just going to put some more alcohol in there so I've got some chance of getting more off at least. I'm pressing pretty hard, but I'm going downwards, right? So I'm not trying to tempt fate into lifting it up or reducing the joint strength, the hold strength. That's the bit where the clumped glue was over there. So after having swiped it, there is an improvement to the appearance of where the hair piece joins onto my scalp. Pulling back there a little bit, I feel there's a little bit of a lifting going on, tiny bit, just there. Does anyone know any tricks to make the hairline even better? I mean, can I make the hairs short along there? But I know that won't work. People talk about plucking away at it and stuff, but that just increases. Do you understand this? It increases the visibility of the base, which is absolutely dead set fucking wrong. You don't want the base to be visible. The base, if it's visible, is like a net on your skin that people can see. Don't bullshit me with what you've heard from other places, okay? If you haven't got the intellect to notice what's really happening, then stay the fuck out of the conversation. It doesn't matter if you've heard it from multiple sources. The Chinese whispers and shit get all fucking confused and rumors spread. It's fake news. I don't want to have to use a fucking saying, a contemporary one at that, which is I hate following anything. If you like following, get the fuck out. If you can look at examples of things and test them and even reason through, that's not going to work. That's shit, that's stupid. You should be able to do that no matter who says it. If Einstein gives you an idea, like if you jump off this building and put your arms out like this, you'll fly. You won't die. You won't hit the ground. You'll just land whenever you feel like it. If Einstein said that to you, would you go, oh, well, if Einstein's saying it, I might as well try that. I'd love to fly. And if there's no risk of death, because Einstein said there isn't, I'm going to jump off this building. Trust me. Don't trust me. Don't trust anything, right? Just know how things work and test them out, okay? If you don't think for yourself, you do not deserve to live. Well, there's no point in you living if you don't think for yourself. There's no point. Just along for the ride. You don't make anything, you don't create anything. If you haven't created anything, if you haven't invented anything, if you're just a consumer, an observer, and just fucking sitting on the sidelines of life, you're absolutely worthless. Do not be a follower. But as you can observe, pressing down and in has decreased the shadow. I've removed the hairs that were sticking in, and any glue that's been squeezed out of that gap is no longer kind of visible at the moment, but I can feel that the glue is still there. So we can expect, based on observation, not from being told, from observation, that black dust and shit will accrue all around here. Just get the C22 and rub it all around on the front. No, because that would weaken the hair. That would weaken the glue in the hold, all right? Just rub more alcohol until that stickiness goes away. To what extent? The alcohol does not simply remove glue. It simply temporarily dissolves it. And if I keep rubbing, as you've seen in my other videos, if you haven't watched them, just please don't comment. You don't know anything, right? If you rub your scalp too much or your forehead too much, it goes red and skin can peel off. Now, flattening this shit. What I'm trying to achieve here. So I don't look like a fucking rooster. Something can be said now for brushing it when it's wet and leaving it to kind of dry. Obviously this hair is too short to meld in, but I don't want it big here. If I've got to have the short back and sides like this, for the sake of getting rid of the grays, remember, that's the whole point of all of this, getting rid of the grays and keeping this short. I've got the option of one, shaving it short so that it all is nice and contoured, and I do think that when that's shorter, it's a more of a fresher kind of look as well, so I do prefer it. And I really don't like those big fucking koala ears sticking out all around here either. Or I can grow it longer and dye it darker, not lighter. All right, I'm not going to be dyeing my hair lighter because it brings out all the bags and wrinkles and shit on my face, and I don't like it. And then what? Change my hair system? Of course, dyeing my hair white is going to make my fucking grays very hard to see. Or blonde, right? People with blonde hair and they go grey, nobody can really tell. You got dark hair and your hair goes grey, it's easy to tell. It's not my primary concern though, making it not be grey. I want the haircut to be as good as it can be. And as an actor, I have to have thousands of different hairstyles available to me. Somebody said just get fucking transplant on the front and then push that forward and then glue the hairpiece back behind it. That's fucking idiotic, all right? That's like when I first started wearing a hairpiece and I wasn't quite ready. I didn't want to shave my scalp or anything. I had hair down to there in the middle, and then I just cut out 2 hair pieces that fit perfectly into the gaps and tried to meld it together. It looked like shit. The density was different between here and here. What would happen if you had the hairline along there, which I've also tried, by the way. Trying to keep that tuft of hair at the front and then put hairpiece all around behind it. And I lined it up perfect. But the density differences, even with the medium light density, looked fucking stupid. And it was extremely difficult to achieve. There was no benefit in doing that. You should try it if you haven't. If you're able to grow a little bit of hair at the front there, you want to put that behind, try it. Because all you have to do afterwards is shave it off. You have wasted a hairpiece though doing it because you had to cut it out around that. So it's a $60 test, let's say. However much your hairpiece costs. All right, so the transition is not exact here. And to be honest, looking at that as it gets dirty and changes color, the hair is no longer looking, because there is a line all along there, right? Still got alcohol on it. It's getting harder and harder to get up in there. So as far as I'm concerned, the ease of use of poly along the front hairline would still make me think, well, poly looks better than lace by day 2 in nearly all situations. Maybe it's not as good as this, quite as good, but you don't want any, you can't have any lines there. When you start ripping away at the front of the hairpiece, you start losing hairs, you start breaking down the base. And it's a massive chore to have to deal with this. Even though I did it perfectly and the glue lined up, I can now feel glue all along. Can you see how my finger isn't sliding there? It's because there's glue in these places. That's gonna be a freaking mess by day 3. Poly would not have a mess at all. But what this does have going for it, I don't agree with anybody who talks about the hairline being better than poly if you average out the look of the front hairline over the 3 weeks that you wear it for. By week 3, the poly kind of looks exactly the same as day 1. Whereas lace deteriorates because of all the glue that accumulates at the front and gathers dust and shit, and cleaning it is a massive chore and is sometimes and often impossible. What more can I do to get rid of these lines than the downward rubbing of the alcohol pad on this? What lace has going for it is the perimeter connector. It's harder to tell. There's a join there. But I wouldn't bother. I can just hear the morons among you saying, why don't you just get a lace backing with a poly front if that's what you want? I don't want to do that. I want to be able to cut things out and place them and resize it and stuff based on stencils and do whatever the fuck I want. I don't want to do it your way. Most 99% of the ideas that you guys put out there are things I've heard and I've tested, and if you watch my previous videos, you'll have seen me testing them, and they're all fucking ridiculously shit. There are a few new good ideas among you. A lot of the time, though, like sliding the fucking hairpiece down the wall of your shower creates such a fucking glue mess that looks like somebody's taken snot every single day of the year. Because after one clean, if you take the lace piece off and you start sliding it down, never gets all the fucking glue out. Don't bullshit me, it doesn't, right? It does not get all the glue out. It makes a fucking massive mess, which is extremely difficult to get off the wall. You put C22 all over it, takes ages to scrub it off. The C22 is all oily and shit. C22 is extremely hard to get off. C22 is almost as hard to clean off something as glue. So it's like sending in the cane toads to get rid of the cane beetles in Australia and causing a massive overpopulation of cane toads. A lot of your answers are like along those lines. The mirror slide technique. Or just put fucking Glad wrap over it and then rub it and then throw the Glad wrap away. Okay, great, we're destroying the environment as well now. No, it's fucking bullshit. It hardly works at all, and it's fucking a heap of effort. And you see, if you haven't seen my previous videos, fuck off. With poly, you just peel it off with your finger, and it's as good as new. I've shown you this many times. On the bottom of the base where you would fix it. And because you're not trying to have to clean the front all the time with poly, you fucking never really have to clean the front hairline. You just have to make sure it's glued down nicely because the sweat lifts it off. And I haven't even tested what it might be like to have ventilation holes pinned through it to give the poly some breathing space. Poly is still on the agenda despite the problems back here where the perimeter meets the hairpiece. At the moment, I'll stick with the lace. I can always have a brush forward look as this gets dirtier, temporarily. By day 4, it might be a fucking pain in the ass. It's like, oh, I don't want any of it to be seen, right? With a good poly piece, you can get away with it. You just have a nice, I've failed with the last batch, obviously, because I bleached that far up each hair. This was massively way too bleached, right? So I just needed to go along the front up to about there, so it just transitioned from pale skin to blonde hair to darker brown hair. And then thinning scissors. The idea of thinning scissors could work. I know it works with real hair, but have you considered properly how hair from a hairpiece works? Have you tried it? Show me a video before I go out and invest in thinning scissors. Show me a fucking video of it working close up, actual working, the same sort of honesty that I show you in my videos. Can you do that? If you can't, I don't know if I'm gonna fucking waste my time, because it seems like even though it does work to make curly hair collapse on my head, and I know that thinning scissors work on curly hair to make it more brushable and relaxed, because there are less curls just going like that. They're only like half the curls, and so they can more be told what to fucking do and they do it. But with this, I don't know. And I also know that if you use thinning scissors on the same spot over and over and over again, you'll just basically be cutting all the hair away and you'll have chunks missing. I can think of like 20 cons and 1 pro. If it works, that's the pro. 20 cons are like fucking chunks missing. I'm not gonna list them all. If I was paid $1 million, I would. At this point, I don't feel it's necessary for me to explain why ideas might not work. Now we know that medium light density is easier to sort of lay down, but it's still not going to stay down perfectly. Anything under 1.5 inches, it's still going to want to go like that, right? Like you saw at the beginning of this edit, of this video that I'm going to release. So it's good to see that it can behave itself to an extent. These hairs back up here probably are being held up by the split there. As you can see, if you can't understand what I'm doing here, fuck off, because you're an idiot, right? Those mounds of hair there are pressing in like that and holding in these middle ones, so they're sticking up like that. So potentially, even at that length, it could be laid flat, except for the fact that the knots want the hairs to stick up like that. And especially V-loops want to stick up like that. They're not gonna, it's gonna be hard to get even one hair. You know how a V-loop is one hair, but it comes out as 2 hairs? Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? They don't want to both go in that direction. You want them front, nose to spine when they're lined up. Unfortunately, when these people make the hair pieces, they're fucking lazy and they're like so in one direction, then just randomly start shifting and going this way. So you've got nose to spine and ear to ear going on all over the place. Unless you're lucky, because it's impossible to see from underneath, from under the base, and the hairs are too long and thickety to look through, unless you really do it fucking under a big light with a table that's got underlight and like some ceramic and white, and you're looking down at it and you can see, oh, okay, that's going left or right there. But you won't remember that in context of placing it down on your head and stuff, and you're certainly not going to throw it away because they've changed directions. You're going to have to deal with it, otherwise you just waste a whole bunch of money. Now you can order custom pieces, which might be the solution for me in the future, but I shouldn't fucking have to if a hairpiece is made properly. Unfortunately, hairpieces have still not got any design that I've seen that enables all the hairs to just go where they're brushed. They just go like this and stick up, right? Which means that you have to have a certain length of natural hair, which can't be 1.2 centimeters long, which is apparently what all this is, because that's what the beard trimmer says it was cut to. It's got to be fucking 1 inch long all around, which for me as a curly haired person means frizz and fucking boof all over the fucking place. This lip here is something I want to get rid of. There is an exposed bald spot there, which seems to me to be the peak of the right hand side lick, which is not as pronounced on this side because naturally it seems that lick's gone further up than this side. In my balding area at the front where it's receded. So potentially I could shave back further in there, increasing all my hairpiece costs by 16.66666%. Because at present I cut my hairpiece into thirds, 33%, 33.3333%, right? And then if I've got a bite out of the middle one on each of those outside ones, we've now taken 16.666, adds 50-50, right? And all the excess hair and hair base will have to be thrown away. Because I'm not really running a fucking sideburn and mustache center for amateur or even professional productions, which is the only thing that hair would be good for at that size. Incidentally, it would be brilliant for that. If you shave your hairpiece so low that just the stubble is coming out, you know, if you've not tried it, try it with the piece you're throwing away. It doesn't look real at all. Never. Why not? They've done it wrong. They've made it wrong. I'm so glad it exists. Don't get me wrong. I'm so glad hairpieces exist. Otherwise I would have been bald this entire time. And I don't like being bald. So whoever invented hairpieces saved me from having to shave off my pubes and glue them to my fucking forehead. So thank you for that. You've had some time now to think about it, see the problems, watch videos like mine and the other guys on YouTube, and see what we're complaining about. Solve those problems. Hairs, if you can manage it, somehow invent a new way. Don't be a follower. Use some research and development skills and make each hair come out individually so they can all be controlled. And brush like normal hair. And if you shave your head, it looks like stubble. And it behaves exactly. So if I wanted to continue this beard pattern right here, and I put a piece of hairpiece on there, you wouldn't be able to tell. That's what we all want. That's what we all want. But you're not even close to that at the moment. Not even close. You wouldn't even be able to extend that side burn down to there. A little triangle of hairpiece. There's no fucking way you'd be able to do that. None of your hair, no company in the world is achieving that. It's useless for that. It's useful for this, a hat made out of hair, but only, by the looks of things, if our hair is long enough to deal with it. Cutting hairpieces short makes them fucked up. Nevertheless, given my current predicament, I need to shorten this one. Just diagonally on the sides here. I want to keep some length. I can just fucking smash it with hair product. But I don't want to wake up like this. I don't, like, you saw me this morning, like fucking nuts. It's just terrible. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it on the edges. Seriously, if you do have advice that works, let me know. But not if you're only telling me because you've heard it from somewhere else or you were told. Or if you do it and you haven't weighed up the pros and cons. For fuck's sake, don't tell me if I only did what you said. You'd better know exactly what you're fucking talking about if you say that shit to me. So I'm going diagonally up from the outer edges of all the layers. Okay, I'm going to put some very non-invasive hair product in now so that none of you can complain later on that the hair product is too harsh or some other fucking bullshit. This is the least harsh hair product there is. It's got no hold whatsoever, but it gives it weight. It's oil. And whenever using hair product, remember that your entire head is what you're styling, not just the hairpiece, okay? You don't want different textures and shininess levels on various parts of your head. This bump at the back, this bump that I get to here, I feel a thickness of hair that I remember wasn't present so much in the Swiss lace where the density was lower. And I don't think it's about the thickness of each individual strand. I think it's about the density here, which is creating a wall where the hairs can't lie flat. They've got to go over the top of one another back here. It's almost as if I've got to take some of the density out in the second or third layer so that these layer one hairs have an opportunity to lay flat, which is why I get such a lip there. This problem would be present even if I were to shave back and do it back here, but the potential for having the hair coming all the way back to here is that it doesn't matter potentially if they do not lie flat from that point, but it will matter if there's an abrupt fucking start from there as well. There's no point at which the curvature of my head will not be interrupted by a sudden commencement of hairpiece. As you know, as we just discussed, they don't want to lie flat. So at least from, if I just leave it here where it is, at least at this present location, without worrying about the arch where the bald patch is, if we just ignore that obvious point of note for the moment, I'll never want my hair to go unk, which it seems to have to always do. And I don't need to do that to know that that's true. I can use logic. So if you haven't got an observation, use logic. Right? Now, if I put it from back here, going up and then forward, it's just gonna look like one of those 1980s fucking, what's his name? Anyway, I don't want that, that's for fucking sure. So I need somehow to make the hair go from short to long. If it's short, hair sticks up if it's from a hairpiece. Even my natural hair sticks up because it's curly back here, see? It just wants to flick back up. Even straight hair at that length is possibly going to do that as well. So I'm not sure what to do about any of this. I don't really even see much of an advantage in shaving back and making a bigger hairpiece and paying an extra 16.66666% for each hairpiece at the moment. And if I went all the way back to here with a full cap to cover this, I've hardly even had a response that makes any sense about how you guys shave all of that baby hair off. Do you not know how you do that? Why can't you answer me? Answer it, please. Why? How do I shave all of this off? You hold a mirror with one hand and sort of somehow reflect it into the mirror over there, and then fucking shave it like that on top of your head. Is that how you do it? Do you put one of those things from IKEA that only come out to about there? That's the longest one that I saw at IKEA. If you didn't watch all those mirror system designs where I had railings and shit going off on this ceiling, and I was building all that shit from hardware stores and trying to erect a gigantic mirror system with an LED around it and everything videos. If you didn't see that series, go back and watch them before you give me any fucking advice on mirrors and stuff. For God's sake. You need a mirror that can go all the way around there and just stay in midair and zoom into there. Or, alternatively, probably better, a camera that's light and can just be moved around there or stays there, and you can, well, it has to move obviously so you can see. And then you have the screen right in front of you. You can just shave or apply glue like that. It would take some getting used to. Then you might have to flip the screen around digitally so that it's not reverse. Like every time I watch these videos back, I thought, wasn't that on that side of the head that I did it? And it's showing on the screen as that side. So everything's backwards for me. I know you guys aren't void of knowledge or information about your own experiences, clearly. I just wish the information was not repetitive, unhelpful, or worse still, repetitive and unhelpful. Or even suggestions that I know are fucking wrong. And I've even had the debate about it 1,000 times already. And you still come on and write the same shit. It's getting to the point that some of the comments, some of the suggestions are at the same level, same frequency as just shave it off, bro. Which is, I don't know how to do a search on all the comments and what people have written, but just shave it off, bro, must have appeared at least 600 times in my comments. So if you think your comment might be getting up there along those lines in terms of the frequency that I've heard it said, or read it said, don't fucking write it. Because if you do, you'll lower yourself in your own status as a human being, and you'll know that your existence on this planet matters less now. Even less than it before you wrote that stupid comment that he's probably heard this before, and come to think of it, it doesn't work. I won't type that. But I want to type something, so I'll go away and I'll invent a new way and I'll test it and I'll give it some thought. Then I'll write it. Or I'll find a really good video that shows close-ups and examples from an honest presenter who doesn't bullshit and proves that this works in this situation. That would be useful. Not just to me, but given that YouTube is a forum, it would be useful to everybody. Provide a link to the shit that you want to say works. And if you're using terminology that requires research, explain what the fuck it is you're talking about in the comments. You must know when you're writing or typing something whether or not people would probably not know what this means. And if you don't know how to put a full stop before another sentence begins, don't type at all. Okay? So, this video was about removing that fucking pineapple on the top of my head, which has mostly been achieved at this point by cutting diagonally away at those edges The hair's not dry yet, and I don't know what's going to happen in the morning when I wake up, but I'm sure it's not going to be as bad as that with those edge bits sticking out. These bits still might be sticking up though, because I haven't cut those middle bits. But I'm hoping that they'll flop more to the sides now that those outside edges have gone away. Hopefully. Now this hairpiece in general, this hairstyle in general, is not embarrassing like it was earlier today. This chunk of hair over here, which is my natural hair, could be cut away more on both sides so it matches up nicely. But I don't want to risk what isn't too broken with a bit of hair something, or muck or whatever else I want to use. It's not disastrous at the moment, and I don't want to risk fucking it all up. Because I take a bit off there and go, oh shit, that side's not even now. Cut that, shave. Oh fuck it, I'm gonna shave my head again. Because your hypothetical groaning was getting in my fucking head. So the hairline is okay. It's winter time, so there's no problem with the shine coming through that I can notice at the moment. Summertime, it's gonna be a massive problem again. So I've still got the debate between poly and lace. I'm not going to ever consider having half poly, half lace, so fuck off about that. If you only did it as I said. Why are you so fucking rude? I'm trying to help you. Don't try. Fuck off. I'm trying to help you. Equal is a term that's of equal filth and repulsion as Google it. Or just shave it off, bro. Or fuck you. They're all in the same part of my brain as each other. Or calm down. If you can't relate to what I'm saying, if you don't agree with me, if you've had different life experiences, but more or less, fuck off. If you don't understand that I'm trying to help you is a fuckwit thing to say, or calm down is a fuckwit. You know, people who are angry are going through pain, right? Telling them to calm down. I hope that the guy with the axe chops your head off when you tell them to calm down. It's completely, you're not going to any measures to try to understand and put yourself in their shoes when you say those words. And also, complaining is a heroic act. It's the seeds of heroism. You might not be doing anything heroic by complaining, but at least you're saying that there's something wrong here. So you're at least trying to notify of an existing error that needs to be remedied, so as less destruction will be caused, or less damage will be caused. But given that you all know I'm a fucking honest prick, my honesty in terms of you having to fuck off under many, many circumstances, which are basically just all the circumstances that go along with being a follower and a moron, a cocksucking dickhead. No offense to cocksuckers, I'm sure they're very pleasant. And I'm hoping my future wife, if I have one, will enjoy them. One of them. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's a well-known term I've even used it as a term of endearment, you fucking cocksucker. I even use it in that way, fucking cocksucker, like as a throwaway line, as I know the person is gay. I know they're gay, I say fucking cocksucker, and pretend I don't know they're gay as I say that. Or pretend I've forgotten and that this term became a swing about entertainment for them. That's not what I'm doing here with you, trying to entertain you with my saying fuck off. I'm actually telling you fuck off, so don't get confused about that. But just then I was joking. But normally, I'm serious, I just don't want to fucking have to... I don't care that much that the comments are all filled with bullshit. But I'd rather they weren't, okay? It doesn't actually hurt me that they're full of shit. I just wish there were more quality ones, filled with information that can be backed up with a video link that's good, that gives us a way to observe the actual outcome properly, and is based on logic. Logic and observation, they're the two things that matter, not hearsay and rumor. And if your advice is coming from those places, or if you know that your system, your idea works, but you also secretly know there are a fucking heap of downsides to it, mention those downsides when you suggest it, so we can weigh it up. Yeah, if I do the mirror slide technique on the wall of the shower, it takes probably weeks to scrub that shit off. And anybody who comes to visit your house will see that there's a slime wall right next to where they're showering. And cleaning that wall takes just as much effort as getting that shit off the lace, and it didn't even come all the way off the lace properly. As you did it, glue was pushed up into the hairs. There were chunks all over the fucking place when you were finished with it. Oh, but you can't expect to get it all out. The best way to remove glue from lace, practically, that I've seen, is to stick the lace with the glue on it to something, say for example a head, then use lace release, spray through the lace, and then peel it off slowly and just keep pinching away at the bottom of it to try and keep the glue stuck to the head instead of the lace. Then get all the glue off your head afterwards, and mostly that glue will be removed except for the bits and pieces that got stuck up in the lace, the big globs, and you try to pick it out with your fingers, but you don't want to use anything too grabby, otherwise you'll be breaking the hairs from the bottom where they're tied in. So look at pros and cons when you suggest anything. Now, my hope was during all that I would speak long enough that I don't have to make an extra recording later on and edit that for you, because I was hoping my hair would dry while I was talking, but just feeling it there, it's not dry. So I've got to rant a bit longer. This joint point feels fairly obvious here. But it's definitely not as bad as it would be if I was wearing poly. And for those of you who recommend that I just get a full cap all the way back to here, don't say that without explaining the cons. If you were me, would you wish that you didn't have to do that? Be honest. Don't be a prick. And don't take into account only the fact that you know you do it daily now, so it's not that much of a big deal. You haven't explained anything about what it's like to shave all of that back accurately without getting any of the edges. I have enough trouble trying to keep this bit shaved in exactly the same way so the stencil isn't outgrown. And I don't know how much of you guys care even that a big gust of wind is gonna flap that shit up. Like in that movie with You Can Do It with Adam Sandler. Whatever that movie in the cabin in the woods fucking thing they did. He has this hairpiece that keeps doing like that and he's unaware of it. Can't dive in a pool. Can't dry your hair with a towel. Can't jump out of a plane. Many times, and I haven't done it yet, jumped out of a plane to show you the hold that hairpieces can be capable of. But imagine you're skydiving with the fucking full thing, which is just held there by some tape, which is fucking useless as far as I've ever experienced. Tape, I mean, come on, you're fucking joking. The only reason you're using tape back here is because you can't fucking reach it with the brush to brush the glue. It's too hard for you. And for those of you who say you don't need to glue the middle part, what, so you just glue around the edges and just this whole bit hollow in the middle? That makes the lace or whatever else it is completely visible. If it was poly, it would be a bubble. You've created a bubble of sweat as well. That can't be good. It'll be a big juicy bubble. You could hear it swishing around after a couple of days. Or in the case of lace, you've got the lace which is completely visible in midair, and it's only when it's got glue on it and it's attached to skin that it starts to look like it's not really very prominent. You need to glue all over. These gaps back in here, you're just unaware because you're not looking at them. Probably no one else can notice either, to be honest, but just the back of your head. But definitely that bit there. How close to the perimeter are you getting with that glue edge? Is it accurate? How do you know? What sort of mirror system have you got? What sort of camera system have you got with a screen here to check? Are you checking? Please let me know. With good grammar when you explain it. That's dry enough, look. That's what it's gonna look like. I've basically solved that bit while it's dry, okay? It's not the best haircut in the world. But it'll do for now. And if I put muck in it, this one's basically run out. You could hear the hollowness, that's why I dropped it. But I've got another one, because I've got a 2-pack. Because I don't run out of stuff. Because I buy it in bulk as I can afford it. When I buy this, I get 5 of them. When I go buy muck, there's usually a deal with 2 or whatever. I get 2 of them. This stuff, you get expensive, glue for example. So I buy maybe 10 of them once every year, maybe. And hair pieces, I never have less than 6 full hair pieces, which means 18 hair pieces for me. But you know what I do? I throw them out after each use. I don't clean them on the fucking shower wall. I just use them, then I throw them away. Because I've taken into account that that's the cost of how much a hairpiece costs. With poly, I can reuse, as long as the hairs haven't become sparsified by brushing or whatever. But with lace, I put heaps of them in the box. I've never reused any of them except for one the other day and it was disgusting all along there. Okay, so that's French Lace Day 2.